Hello, Rick here. Today I'm reviewing the LEGO Iron Man 3 Iron Man Malibu and Mansion Attack, which has 5 minifigures, 364 pieces, and retailed for $40 back when it was released in 2013. Here's Tony Stark, and this is a pretty interesting figure because we've pretty rarely gotten just normal Tony Stark outside of the Iron Man costume. This version has the arc reactor under his shirt, which I do believe is an exclusive print. You can see the rest of the printing on the shirt there. He does have a face that only comes in the Extremis port battle, so it is nice to get it in this set. On the other face, he looks really scared, and on the other one, he looks very confident. Not too much else with this figure, but a very, very nice figure indeed. Here's Pepper Potts, and this is one of 2 times we've gotten Pepper Potts as a character, and the only time we've got her not in a superhero costume. The other time we got her character was as Rescue in the Hulk helicopter drop. She does use this ponytail piece in like a ginger or orange, which is pretty nice. Now the face looks like Pepper Potts, but it doesn't look like Gwyneth Paltrow, so I don't know. On the other face, she looks very scared. And they do have a decent amount of negative space on this figure, which I do like to see. It shows the extra attention to detail with some of the female characters. So here's the Mark 42 armor. Has those blue cylinders and the blue studs to represent flight. I think they used that for a long time, but this is a really nice detail. This is probably one of my favorite Iron Mans. You can see just how much gold there is on there, and it's done really nicely. I really like how this came out. It does use the standard Iron Man helmet. Underneath is just a white head, and if you don't know how these Iron Man helmets work, it's a separate piece which attaches to the main mask, and you can flip this up. Always found that system to be really interesting. And also he does have pearl gold hands, which is not something you see on most Iron Man. Overall, a really nice suit. Probably one of my favorite suits that LEGO have made. Here is the Mandarin, and this version is different from the one that comes in the small set. It uses a different torso print, and it also has a cape. It does have the same face and beard. Now, what's really kind of annoying about this figure is that it's very difficult to get the head down all the way. Well, it's not that difficult, but it does require a decent amount of force. So, before I take off the beard, which is hard to do since this is the older style cape, you just kind of see a bit of back torso printing under there. This is the old style cape, and it does not bend well. So, taking off the head, you can see there's different faces, and you have the beard piece, which does come in a couple, like Ninjago says, but not too many. And then that is the torso print underneath. Pretty accurate. From what I remember from the movie, the Mandarin was an interesting looking character, and I found the twist to be a bit stupid, but also kind of interesting. But then we should be getting the real Mandarin like in a movie, and you can kind of see just how kind of difficult it is to get it down all the way. I'm sure I'll be able to do it off camera, but it's not the easiest thing in the world. But anyways, that's it for the Mandarin. Finally, we just have an Extremis soldier, and this is a really nice looking character. They do have that red surge through the body. Now, I feel like this might have been based off of concept art, or this is just LEGO's own kind of creative license, but the head does glow in the dark, and you can see the alternate face where he looks charged up. I could maybe try and get it, but the head does glow in the dark, which I find interesting. The Aldrich Killian minifigure also has a glow in the dark head. I don't know, it was just kind of an interesting feature that they decided to add. And I think it does make the figure a lot cooler in that aspect, but it looks pretty cool already. There is also a little build for Dummy. He just has a fire extinguisher, a nice little Technic build at the bottom, which is pretty interesting. You can adjust him as he is on hinges rather than mini ball joints, because I don't think they were introduced at that time. But I think the most interesting part about him is the Mark 7 suitcase. I think it's the Mark 7, but that is on the suitcase piece. I'm not going to open it, there's nothing inside, and I hate like these types of pieces because it puts strain on the bit holding the two halves together when it's closed. And I don't understand why that is. Fortunately, they don't really use this piece anymore, same with the book and the violin case, but I'm not a fan of these types of pieces because it just puts so much strain on this connecting bit, and then eventually, if you leave it for 3 years and try and open it, they'll snap apart, which is just, I don't know. I really don't like that, but that's it for Dummy. Beyond Dummy, there is 2 builds to this set. The Mandarin's a helicopter and then the section of the mansion. Let's take a look at that section of the mansion first. The mansion is an interesting build, and they use some interesting techniques to get the shaping right. And it looks pretty good from all angles except from this angle. But considering it looks pretty good from the front, the back, and this side, I think it's okay for this side to be lackluster. So on the front you will see some stickers, as well as a sticker that says alert, as well as a sticker that shows a helicopter. Now, interesting fact about this set, these stickers are not actually numbered. And that was just kind of an interesting detail. I knew that stickers weren't numbered, but I didn't know they weren't numbered this recently, I guess. I thought they had numbered stickers back in 2013. On the top, you do have these very large, like, macaroni pieces. These are used for stuff like Jabba's Palace and that one ship from Thor Ragnarok that's like a circle. Now, there is a play feature. You see this top bit up here where you can just push it forward and the glass pops out to represent an explosion. I don't know. I think it could have been executed a bit better since it's not really that big of an explosion and it's not really that big. Like, even if I hit this, like, as hard as I can, it's not really gonna pop out really hard. I guess it can pop out decently far, but I still think it's a little bit weak. Now, moving on into the interior, you do see that they do have some interesting shaping. Now, one thing I'm not a huge fan of is just the fact that this bit juts out. I don't know why they just couldn't have filled it in, though I guess the hinges that they use would kind of get in the way. So you do have a tool rack with a hammer and a wrench. Then you do have this little rotating part, which does have a couple stickers that just show Tony Stark turning into Iron Man. Nothing really too complicated, but they're nice details, I guess. On this side, you do have these little drawers that have nothing in them. You do have a clear cup, as well as a fruit blender, which is an interesting build. Nothing too complicated again, but it is a nice little build. Then over here you do have this little section for the Hall of Armor, and it holds the Mark 6 and the Mark 7. Now, I'm not sure if those have been made into Lego. You can maybe see these a bit better from this side, but you can hold them there, which is nice for people who got the Hall of Armor set. Now, there is another play feature where if you move this red part, these bits go flying, and the explosion is a really nice explosion this time. It's not kind of half-assed, I guess. You can just fit your figures on there. Now, there's not too much else going on with this build. It is rounded off very nicely for the section of the mansion that it is. So let's take a look at the helicopter. So the helicopter build is a somewhat interesting helicopter. It's a bit more unique than something you would see from, say, City. On the front, you do have this sticker with the Mandarin logo. On the side, you have just some nice gold and silver decals that are also stickers. On the side, you do have these flick-fire missiles, which this was during the heyday of flick-fire missiles, the year before they were about to be replaced by stud shooters, so you could just push this, They work fine, I guess. I'm not really been good at flicking them. If you push them, they'll go far. They don't provide any extras, so do be careful, because it does look kind of weird without the missiles in. You can open up this, you can remove this piece and put in your extremis soldier to pilot the helicopter. There's no control panel or anything in there, not even like an attempt at one. It's just left with a red slope, so I mean, take that as you will. Now, you do have a somewhat interesting build for a helicopter where they use black lightsaber hilts as some of the shorter blades. That works well, it spins. Then you do have this interesting like open section, as well as a place where you can put the Mandarin standing on, even though the scene technically wasn't here. You do have a little clip that's holding his gun, which I've not really been a fan of this piece. That's nothing against the set itself, I've just not really been a fan of that piece. But I get they have to make the guns not realistic for legal purposes. You do have this like bit that juts out with these two long pieces, and then you do have the small rotor that can spin just fine as well. And it's a pretty nice build. It's nothing too revolutionary or complicated, but it's a nice build. Now that's it for the builds of the set. Let's take a look at the box and the paper material. Box for this is that thin $40-$50 box size they use on a couple sets. I'm not sure if they still use this to this day, but on the back it just shows some different shots as well as some very interesting onomatopoeia. There's two instruction booklets, one for the helicopter and one for the mansion, and neither one has really any ads beyond an ad for Lego Club and Lego Marvel Superheroes. I played that game on my DS, and probably because it was on the DS it was like malfunctional and bad, but I just remember having a bad time with that game. Also included with this set is a little comic, which really is a blast from the past. I stopped doing these, in 2017? On the back, it does have a minifigure checklist for the first and second years of Lego Marvel Superheroes, which is pretty cool. This is a very sought-after set, and for good reason. It takes probably one of the MCU's most iconic locations at the time, and it brings it into Lego form in a cheap, affordable way, again, for the time. If you're looking to buy this new sealed in the box, you're looking at anywhere from about $80 to $120 sealed. Now, do I recommend you get this set? I would say yes. Though I do have a couple flaws with it, like the window exploding not really that well, and that part with the workbench just jutting out a bit. But overall, this is a really, really good set. This is easily the best Iron Man 3 set. You get some very nice minifigures with that Mark 42, Tony Stark and Pepper Potts, and even the bad guys here as well are really nice. I give this set a 9 out of 10. It's a very, very nice set. It looks good on display. It has really good minifigures. It's fun to play around with and roleplay inside the mansion. I would recommend this set, but on the condition that you get it used with that suitcase intact. Because, trust me, that suitcase is going to break if you try to open it 5 years from now. It is going to snap. Anyways, that's it for this video. See you guys later. Peace.